Guide to Getting in Shape, Week 8. The last week of this video series. What we're gonna cover in this one is just a final summary because a lot of it is repetition and getting into a routine. Another thing we're gonna cover is when we do our ab workouts and our forearm workouts. So our forearms we usually include after our arm day, which is usually Wednesday. We take about 15 to 20 minutes and do some forearm exercises. Next up is gonna be abs, and we usually include that after shoulders day. That's why we take enough time, hit those abs hard, and then they're good to go throughout the rest of the week. One thing you gotta remember is through big compound movements and even some isolation movements that require a lot of stabilization, your core or your abs are actually involved throughout the whole motion. And what you wanna do is really isolate the abs by contracting them through the whole motion. And that's really gonna help increase your ab strength and also the look too. So you can actually get an ab workout through your normal workouts as well, and not just through the isolation exercise we do after shoulders. And you may be wondering why we don't do abs more than one day a week, and Brandon pretty much explained it. When we're doing stuff like lat pull downs, overhead press, we're really focusing on the core as well. So the core is involved during many different exercises. So it's getting worked throughout the week. You may not be focusing specifically on the core, but your core is getting worked. Like we said before, this is what works for us. We don't do as much abs, but you can feel free to do more if you feel like it's a lagging body part. Remember, this guide to getting in shape was based upon our routine, how we eat, when we eat, what we work out, and when we work out. What we would like you guys to do is customize it on your own. It's all gonna be different. You're gonna find things work for you better than it did for us, or vice versa. So use this as a loose guide. This is not the Bible to getting in shape. This is how we got in shape. You can eat certain food, you may not like certain food that we eat, but hopefully you've learned a thing or two in the process. That's the important part. That's why we wanted to start this. Maybe there's an exercise you didn't know about before watching this. Maybe there's a certain food or recipe you didn't know about. That's the important part, is just inspiring you and motivating you. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't apply it, you're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna build that physique. It takes time. It's like learning to play the guitar. Eddie Van Halen did not play Eruption within the first month. It's gonna take some getting used to, but sticking with it is the most important part. Two key points to remember: simplicity and consistency. We never try to put too much on our plate, because when you do, you get overwhelmed. And when you have too many things to keep track of, you start to lose focus on the big things, which is eating right and working out. So that is the simplicity. Keep it simple. Another thing is the consistency. Don't get so overwhelmed in the beginning when you want everything right now. It's like we said, things take time. When you're consistent, you will make it to the end of the road. It's the old story of the tortoise and the hare. You are the tortoise. You're slowly moving along towards your goal. Don't sprint right out of the gates, because you're gonna slow down, your sides are gonna hurt, and you're gonna watch that little turtle pass you by. That turtle may not look like much, but it's gonna get to the finish line. And that's the same thing with being a buff dude. You may just be a dude now, but that's not always the way it's gonna be. So stay buff, dudes.